The real reason that the patriarchy still exists is because most men will never know the feeling of a critical thought passing in between their ears. And I'm not even saying that necessarily to flex on men or like be funny or whatever. I literally think the patriarchy teaches them this, which is why they're not only blind to what's happening right in front of their nose, but they're actually celebrating this win as if this group of people is going to be good for their future. That's how I know that they've never had a single critical thought. See, women are different. Women are taught from a very young age that everything is our responsibility, that we need to think ahead about things, that we need to be knowledgeable. There's no margin for error, that we can't really make mistakes. Men are not taught any of these things, which is why they're so comfortable floating through life with no purpose other than to submit to other more powerful men. This is how you know submission is actually very easy for men. They always talk about masculinity and being alpha and non-submissive, and yet anything that these guys do or say, most men will gobble that shit right up without asking any questions. Not only have these nerds decided that they're now masculine and they now represent masculinity, they also get to decide what masculinity is, and the other men are just going to nod along and submit to that. They're going to be like, yes, this is the new definition of masculinity. This is what we think masculinity is now. And they're out here celebrating like they won. Like they're the ones that's going to be lining their pockets with taxpayer money. It's not going to be you, babe. It's going to be the men that you bent your knee to, that you bow down to, the men that you so easily submit to, that you enrich with your stupidity and your lack of critical thinking. That's the reason why we still have the patriarchy, because if men could look at the patriarchy critically, they would realize that it hurts them too. In fact, the first thing that the patriarchy does is hurt men, is tell men what they can and can't be, right? And a lot of men are not thinking critically enough to realize that, notice it, ask any questions about it, or fight against it. Why? Because critical thinking is for women. It's women that ask all the questions. It's women that are always emotional about things. It's women that are always making a big deal about something. All of that stuff is called critical thinking. It's called asking questions and being like, I don't know. I just don't know if that's right, because the actions are not matching the words, because the outcomes are not matching what was promised. It's much easier for men. They just look at a man and they're like, is he rich? Great, then I will do whatever he says. Every single one of these men was a loser in high school. None of these men have a masculine bone in their body. All of these men's companies only exist because of our taxpayer money, because we give them subsidies. The government takes tax dollars out of our pocket and gives subsidies to these men. This man was a loser in high school. Girls wouldn't talk to him, so he built a website to rate women, which is what incels do. Instead of talking to women in like a masculine man would, he created a website to sit there and goon over women and rate them and do incel things. He just figured out how to work a grill like a week ago. All these men had to do was come out and just tell other men that they're masculine. And the other men were like, yes, sir. Yes, you are, daddy. You're so masculine. I can't wait for America to be more masculine again. Y'all didn't even stop and critically ask yourself, are any of these men masculine? Do any of these men look like they could chop down a tree? They would just pay somebody else to do it. But for some reason, men are not asking these critical questions. They're like, no, these men are rich and on top of the world, and so therefore that means I need to submit to them. And this is why men so often talk about wanting submissive women. This is why a lot of men voted for, these MAGA policies, because what they really want is the same thing that these men have, which is unquestioned submission, which you as a man are rarely ever going to get from a woman. Even when women do seemingly submit unquestionably to a man, that is a calculated decision. Men, however, y'all will literally give these men your money and you ask for nothing back in return. Women that are gold diggers. Yeah, if you were smart, you'd be a gold digger too. These men are gold diggers. They're digging for gold from the government. They're digging for gold from your tax pockets, by the way. And y'all still think these are masculine, self-made, awesome, powerful men. Like, I can't help you. And that's how the patriarchy plays men. It tells them that it's bad to be a woman. It tells them that women ask too many questions, women talk too much, women are not submissive enough. Men fall for the trick and start to try and act the opposite of women. They stay quiet, they're submissive, they don't ask too many questions, they listen to their boss, yes sir, to any man that has more money than them. And that's how and why we are in this mess. So stop looking to women to free us from the patriarchy. The only reason we still have the patriarchy, women know it's a bad idea. The only reason we still have the patriarchy is because men are so naturally submissive. I hope this helps. Godspeed, y'all.